The term adaptation implies that you are mindful of your surrounding and you are physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially understanding what needs to be changed in order for balance to be maintained. That is adaptation. All our senses have very strong sensory adaptation qualities. The first time you come to the ashram, what hits you? One will be smell, because in India, the first thing that hits you is smell. Smell is very vivid in India. The second thing that hits you is noise level. Boom. It's like, suddenly your eardrums have opened. That's the type of impact you have when you come to India for your sensation. And you come to the ashram and all you can hear is the crows. You hear nothing but the crows because they're always going ka, 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 ka. Now, you know what happens? 2-3 days after being in the ashram, you stop hearing the crows. Because what has happened is your ears have said the crows are normal. Crows are not a threat. Crows are not going to come down and, bite you or kill you. At most, they will steal your chapati. And what happens? You say it's not a threat, relegate it to the background. So that which occurs again and again, that which has become common is relegated to the background so that new, dynamic, challenging, potentially threatening impulses can be perceived. When you are sitting on this chair that we are all sitting right now, the first time you sit, you would have felt where you are sitting. And now till I have mentioned it, you have not thought about that touch zone at all. That pressure zone, you didn't think. Now you're thinking about it because I'm talking about it. Because what happened? Your touch receptors got adapted to it. They said, this person has sat down. They're going to be like this for the next 2 hours with this guy who doesn't stop talking. And so there's no threat here. Let's forget that we are sitting down. And they stop thinking about it. Your nose stops sensing certain smells. That is why our fisher people at the beach, they don't smell the fish at all because it's all the time there, so it's not new. You go to the beach, you're like, oh, stench of the fish. Yeah, because you have not been smelling it. And then they come here and they're like, oh my God, this is so bad, the smell of flowers. Fish smell so nice. And people have the smells they like and the smells they are used to. What is the message here? You go from a dark room to the bright light, your eye is suddenly, oh my God, you're blinded. 10 minutes later, you can see everything. You go from the bright light into a movie theater, which is dark, you can see nothing, you're fumbling and falling all over the seats. 5 minutes later, you can see the next person coming in, making a fool of themselves and laugh at them as others laughed at you 10 minutes earlier. Sensory adaptation. And this is the same with life experiences also. When you can start to realize what is important in your life, focus on it. What is not important in your life, relegate it to the background. What we are doing, the biggest mistake we do as a human being is we put everything into the forefront and we are filled with noise. And the noise is so loud, we forget and we miss the music of life. When you relegate the noise to the background, that is adaptation. Now, how are you relegating it? By the power of choice. You are choosing to discern. Viveka Kyati. That is why Patanjali gave us Yoganga Anushthanat. Ashuddhikshaye Jnana Deepti Viveka Kyati. Develop that Viveka to know what is essential and what is not essential. What is important, what is not important. What is gold, what is junk. What is precious and what is to be thrown away. And the moment you have that clarity, you have become a highly adaptable human being who will adapt to the circumstances as they are changing. Whether it be at home, whether it be at work, whether it be in public, whether it be the climate change, whether it be the political discourse, it doesn't matter. You are adapting. Now, the challenge in adaptability is how to adapt without compromising your integrity. Because a chameleon adapts very well. On a green tree, it becomes green. On a blue tree, it becomes blue. On a pink tree, it becomes pink. And on an orange tree, it becomes orange. So the chameleon can adapt. But as a human being, if you keep on changing color all the time, you're not a human being anymore. So how to adapt without compromising our integrity, without compromising our values? That is where we are trying to go. So when we learn to adapt to the change of circumstances, when we learn to adapt to what is happening, when we learn what is happening, as Karin rightly put it, back to balance, it is all about finding balance, all about homeostasis, samatvam. And the more we can get that, and yes, the serenity prayer is absolutely true. You know, that which can be changed, for God's sake, change it. That which cannot, well, accept it. And know the difference. Know the difference. Flexibility with discernment. Again, a beautiful combination. We have to have the discernment. And that is why the more the discernment is developed. How do you develop discernment? Mindfulness. And I don't mean the modern secularized intellectual property theft from the East, passed on by as mindfulness. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking of mindfulness, which is the key quality of yoga. There's nothing like mindless yoga. Well, I'm sure somebody will try that also. Next yoga studio coming up, mindless yoga, and all the idiots and morons can join it. Sorry, but in the world we see that type of stuff. All yoga is mindful. All meditation is transcendental. All life is divine. But we want, this is divine, that is not. All life is sacred. This is one of my favorite quotes from my childhood. All life is sacred. The sanctity of all life. Never forget that. And that is why the more we develop this adaptability quotient, AQ. And what does yoga do? Yoga enables you to develop that adaptation, adaptability. Because you learn to see the world upside down. You see it top side up, downside up. You see it from the right angle. You see it from the left angle. You twist and see it. You bend forward and see it. You bend back and see it. You do your Brahma Mudra, all directions to open your perspective. You breathe slow, you breathe fast. You move slow, you move fast. You hold still. You don't hold still at times. You hold still at times. What are you doing? Constantly you are experiencing change physically, emotionally, psychically. And the more you experience it, the more your capability of adaptation grows. And naturally, you become an example of what Sri Aurobindo called moving from man to superman. Superhuman, let's call it. Moving into our divinity.